Hey everyone! Before we dive into today's story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss a shocking, emotional, and jaw-dropping story like the one we have for you today. Trust me, you'll want to stick around until the very end. The morning Daniel Carter left for deployment, the sky was gray and heavy with clouds, as if even the world itself felt the weight of what was about to happen. Inside the small airport terminal, soldiers lined up in uniform, some joking loudly to hide their fear, others holding their families tightly, afraid to let go. Daniel stood near the departure gate with his 6-year-old daughter Sophia wrapped tightly in his arms. Her small fingers clutched the back of his uniform as if she believed that holding him hard enough could stop him from leaving. "Daddy," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Don't go too far this time." Daniel swallowed hard. His throat felt tight. He forced a smile and brushed her curls from her face. "I won't be far, princess, and I'll be calling you all the time. Every day if I can." Sophia nodded, though tears were already rolling down her cheeks. A few steps away stood Melissa, his wife. She was dressed neatly, her arms folded in front of her, eyes red as if she had been crying all night. To anyone watching, she looked like the perfect, worried military wife. But even then, Daniel noticed something he couldn't explain. She wasn't crying the way she used to when he left. There was no shaking, no deep sobs, just quiet tears and a strange distance in her eyes. Daniel shifted Sophia to one arm and reached for Melissa with the other. "We're going to be okay," he said gently. "I've taken care of everything. The bills are set. My pay goes straight to the house account. If anything happens, you call the lawyer immediately. He has copies of everything." Melissa nodded quickly. "Of course. I know." Daniel reached into his bag and pulled out a thin brown envelope. "This is the power of attorney. It's only for emergencies, medical issues, school issues, nothing else." She hesitated for the briefest second before taking it. Just a blink, just a pause. Daniel didn't notice. They embraced. The first few weeks after Daniel left felt eerily quiet in the house. Melissa tried to keep things normal for Sophia's sake. She cooked meals, helped her with homework, read bedtime stories, and kissed her forehead every night. But when the lights went out and the house sank into silence, the emptiness hit her like a tidal wave. For the first time in years, she was completely alone, and that loneliness was unbearable. She had grown so used to Daniel being there that his absence left a hollow ache she could not ignore. She cried herself to sleep, whispering his name into the darkness, wishing he were home. At first, she tried to convince herself it was temporary. He was away for a noble cause, serving his country. But day after day, week after week, the loneliness began to fester. Phone calls that once lasted for hours became shorter. Her smiles into the camera felt forced. Excuses started piling up. Her phone died. She was busy with Sophia. She had errands. Daniel never questioned her, trusting the woman he loved with everything, unaware that a slow, silent betrayal was already taking root. As the weeks passed, Melissa felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. Bills, school fees, groceries, repairs. Everything was falling on her shoulders alone. Daniel sent money faithfully, but it was never enough for the life she imagined. She wanted more. Better clothes, a nicer car, a house that felt like something more than just a shelter. She began borrowing small amounts from friends, then maxed out credit cards, then took out loans in secret. Each lie she told herself became a little easier to believe. She was desperate, and desperation has a way of leading people down dangerous paths. It was during one of these moments of despair that she met Ryan Blake. It was an ordinary evening at a small coffee shop near Sophia's school. Melissa sat at a table, staring at her phone, scrolling through her declining bank account and feeling like the walls were closing in on her. That chair taken? A smooth, confident, like any other day, but for Daniel, it would become the first crack in the world he thought was secure. He was halfway through another long shift at the military base, the desert sun beating down relentlessly, when a casual conversation with a friend back home planted a seed of suspicion he would never forget. "Hey man, you won't believe this. his friend had said over the phone. "I saw someone driving your black Charger the other day. I thought maybe it was a friend of yours borrowing it." Daniel laughed nervously, brushing it off. "No, that's impossible. My wife wouldn't let anyone touch my car. She knows how I feel about it." But the words echoed in his head long after the call ended. Something about the casual way his friend mentioned it didn't sit right. He shook his head, trying to push the thought away. Maybe he was just imagining things. Days later, the first concrete proof arrived. A bank alert popped up on his military-issued phone. A notification of the sale of his car. Daniel's eyes widened as he read it. The transaction had gone through, the funds deposited, not in his account, but in a different account he didn't recognize. He couldn't believe it. His car, his pride and joy, sold. And all while he had been thousands of miles away, risking his life for his country. Panic clawed at him. He tried to call Melissa immediately, heart racing. When she answered, her voice was calm, almost too calm. "I had to sell it, things were tight," she said casually, as if selling the car had been the most ordinary, necessary thing in the world. Daniel's mind raced. "What do you mean, things were tight? I send money every month. What is happening?" Melissa hesitated, then forced a laugh. Daniel's heart sank as the days passed and more pieces of the nightmare came into focus. It wasn't just the car. It was the subtle ways the stranger, Ryan, had taken over the life he had left behind. Neighbors had started talking. Friends had started calling. Some tried to be discreet, offering gentle warnings, but the truth was becoming impossible to hide. Ryan wasn't just visiting, he was living there. He was present in every corner of the house, in the spaces Daniel had built with his own hands, and the thought of it burned through him like fire. Melissa, meanwhile, had become more confident, more careless. The woman he had trusted blindly now moved with ease, laughing, smiling, and pretending as though everything were normal. She welcomed Ryan into their home with the warmth that had once been reserved for Daniel. She let him fix things around the house, rearrange furniture, even take Sophia out for errands and appointments. Every smile Melissa gave him felt like a dagger in Daniel's chest, even though he was thousands of miles away, trying to focus on his mission while his world at home crumbled. Sophia, innocent and unaware of the betrayal, had begun calling Ryan Uncle Ryan. The name echoed in Daniel's mind during late-night phone calls. "Uncle Ryan?" he would whisper to the phone. "Why does she call him that?" Melissa would laugh softly, brushing it off as harmless. "He's just helping. She likes him. She feels safe." Safe. The word felt like poison to Daniel. Safe? Safe from what? From him? From her husband? Who risked his life every day to protect his family. The deeper Daniel dug, the more he realized the extent of the deception. Friends had seen Ryan sleep in Daniel's bed while Melissa was out. Bills were being spent recklessly. Decisions about the house, the car, and even Sophia's school activities were being made without his knowledge. And yet, each time Daniel confronted Melissa over the phone, Daniel had been lying in his tent, trying to focus on the endless reports and patrol schedules, but sleep had evaded him for nights. Something about the messages from friends back home, the glimpses of Ryan driving his car, and the uneasy silence in Melissa's calls gnawed at him constantly. Every day, the weight of the unknown pressed harder, and he realized he couldn't ignore it any longer. Then the phone rang. The number was unfamiliar, the tone urgent. "Daniel? It's Howard Grant, your family lawyer," said the voice on the other end, quivering with a mix of fear and urgency. Daniel's heart skipped. The lawyer was a man of calm authority, meticulous and precise. If he was panicked, it could only mean something catastrophic. "Howard, what's wrong?" Daniel asked, trying to keep his voice steady. There was a long pause. When Howard finally spoke, it was in a low, hurried tone. "Daniel, sit down. I don't even know where to start. This is serious. Your wife, she's done something illegal. Worse, it's complicated. I barely know how to explain it without risking myself." Daniel's stomach dropped. "What do you mean, illegal? What did she do?" Howard took a shaky breath. "The car, the documents, they were forged. She didn't just sell the car. She forged signatures, altered official papers, and attempted to sell the house. If this goes to court like it could, she could be facing serious charges. And if I don't act carefully, I could be implicated as well. By the time Daniel started piecing everything together, the reality of Ryan Blake's manipulation was worse than he could have imagined. The man Melissa had welcomed into their home wasn't just a visitor or a friend. He was a predator who had spent months weaving himself into their lives, slowly replacing Daniel in ways that were terrifyingly complete. Every interaction, every favor, every smile had been carefully calculated. Daniel discovered through discreet checks, friends, and private investigators that Ryan had a long history. Multiple aliases, numerous women who had been conned out of money, and even prior run-ins with the law. He wasn't just charming, he was dangerous. And then the shocking news arrived. Melissa was pregnant. The timing didn't line up with Daniel's deployment. The baby could very well be Ryan's. Melissa had kept it a secret, likely hoping Daniel wouldn't notice until it was too late. When Daniel first heard the news, a mix of emotions collided in his chest. Anger, betrayal, and heartbreak all at once. He thought of Sophia, his innocent daughter, caught in the middle of the storm. He thought of the home he had built, the life he had worked for, and how it had been infiltrated by someone who had no right to be there. Melissa's calm and confidence had already started to crumble. Ryan, realizing the heat was closing in, had disappeared with the money from the car sale, her savings, and whatever he could liquidate quickly. In the wake of his absence, Melissa's bravado faltered. She was now left to face the consequences of Daniel's plane touched down just as the sun was dipping below the horizon, casting long shadows across the city he had once called home. He stepped off the jet, feeling the dry air hit his face, the familiar smells and sounds rushing back to him. Every step toward the exit felt heavy. He wasn't just returning from deployment. He was returning to a battlefield disguised as his home. The drive to his house was silent. Every street, every corner reminded him of memories he had built, of a life he had worked for. But now Daniel braced himself for the unknown. He knew Ryan Blake had been there. He knew Melissa had betrayed him. He knew that the home he once trusted as a sanctuary had been invaded. When he pulled into the driveway, his heart froze. The house looked untouched on the outside, quiet, normal, almost deceptively peaceful. But Daniel knew better. He could feel the tension, the invisible marks of intrusion, of lies and deception. He opened the front door slowly, almost cautiously, expecting to find chaos. Daniel knew that returning home was only the first step. The real battle was just beginning. The house, though quiet now, was still heavy with the remnants of betrayal. Every corner held a memory of deceit, every room a shadow of Ryan's presence. Melissa had admitted some truths, but the web of lies was far from untangled, and Daniel had no intention of letting it remain that way. The next morning, Daniel met with Howard, the family lawyer, in a small, sterile office. Howard spread the documents across the desk, signed papers, bank statements, forged signatures, and evidence of Ryan's manipulations. "This is everything we could gather so far," he said. "The sale of the car, the attempts to liquidate assets, the accounts Ryan touched. If we act quickly, we can reverse most of it. But we have to move carefully. Melissa's cooperation is crucial." Daniel leaned back, absorbing the full scale of the deception. He had expected anger, perhaps sadness, but the reality was sharper, colder. He realized that Melissa had been both a victim and